What's up, Fantasy Sweaters? Welcome back to the Daily Fantasy Sweat Podcast presented by What the Lou Media. I'm your host, Kris King. We are here on a Wednesday. We're going to be talking some Underdog. I told you we were going to be rolling more content with these guys. They're not a sponsor. We're not affiliated. But we just love the platform. We love the leverage. We love the type of contests that they're running. I hope to see this grow in the future. And there's just there's soft action over here. You can get some really good games against some weak opponents. And again, it's a lot of mid-level players. You don't have those high-end sharks. So you have some guys who definitely know what they're doing over here, but or they wouldn't be, they wouldn't be playing at the volume they are, or they wouldn't be getting the volume they are. That being Underdog, but there's definitely some soft action over here. I did like a kind of a mock draft over here. Let's flip the script to Underdog so you don't have to stare at my face the whole time. We're actually in a contest waiting for it to fill. We're waiting on 2 right now. So we're gonna build rankings kind of while we wait for this to fill up, and then we'll jump in the contest and do one, and then finish the rankings if we need to. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short. There's no reason to really stretch this out too long. So we're going to try to be short, try to be efficient, but give you enough content to make a difference. But what I was saying is I jumped in a contest earlier just to kind of feel out what was happening, and Patrick Mahomes gets taken number 2 overall. Again, there's some soft action over here. That person clearly doesn't know how to play this format, clearly game log watching. And that equates to free money for you and me, my friends. So let's take a look at the slate. It's really bunched up over here on if you're watching on YouTube. I only have a certain portion of my screen on your screen, so we're just going to have to roll with that. One thing that I like is how they do their ADPs just based on total points when you're basically looking at the entire player pool, because it really bunches the quarterbacks up top and really encourages lesser experienced players to take quarterbacks earlier, which I really love personally. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking a top-tier quarterback. Don't get me wrong. You can certainly wait on quarterback, find some nice deals, some good value, but also some of these guys are great for stacking. And keep in mind, here's what we're running. Let's go ahead and pop over here. Look at the lobby. If you come to Underdog, this is where it starts. This is what you see. And let's move this over here. A little bit of whoop. And I don't know what that noise was I just made. I have no idea. But we have this week the Battle Royale Twitter tussle. I assume, let's see, check out our Twitter to get in for free. Look at that. If you go to their Twitter, you can get in this contest for free. Very interesting. But if you pay, it's $5. There's 4.5K entries, 20K in prizes total. If we look over here, it's pretty standard stuff. You can check out all the info. The scoring is half point PPR. That's redundant. I said half point per reception. It's half point per reception. That's how you'd say it. So catches matter not as much as in DraftKings. You draft 1 quarterback, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, and a flex. So you have the option of going balanced, doing 2 running backs, taking 3 receivers. In these tournaments, I'm always taking 3 receivers because I'm looking for the ceilings and wide receivers, especially involved in stackings and correlation. They have, a lot of opportunity for tournament winning potential, when you go heavy on wide receiver. If you're playing like some of these small tournament or some of these small games, they have like head-to-heads, like 3-mans, 4-mans. Maybe building a floor is the way to go. Maybe you want to go 2 running backs. And then last thing that's everyone's interested in is the payout structure: 4K to first, 2K to second, 1,000 to third, 750 to fourth, and so on down the line. It is very top-heavy. You can finish in the top 10 out of 4,500 people and just win $100. When 10 spots up, it's paying $4,000. But it's only costing you $5 to get in. So Definitely check that out. We're waiting for one more person as I adjust my screen over here for you YouTube peeps. Yeah, we're waiting on one other entry here. So while we do that, let's start building our player pool and our rankings. And these rankings, keep in mind, what I'm doing is building tiers, basically. I'm building groups of players that I kind of want to take from it, depending on where I'm drafting. Like, I'm going to start, let's get these quarterbacks out of here for one, because we're not going to put them near the top. You know, I start with, like, dropping in Dalvin Cook, and then who you know, is potentially playing another weather game, maybe dealing with some wind. So you might see, I don't know how bad it is. I have not looked at all. But he could get, you know, a ton of rushing opportunity if the weather is bad enough. And against Detroit, he's in a really plus spot here. Derrick Henry, you know, playing at home against Chicago, the matchup isn't great, but I assume that Tennessee is going to be up in this game. They're going to be protecting the clock, and Derrick Henry gets his. He's got an amazing floor. He's got opportunity for a ceiling. And it's not really as necessary to fade Derrick Henry because this is only half-point PPR, so, you know, you gain that advantage as well. Where it puts Derrick Henry kind of back in the mix. So I like him and then McCaffrey, who, you know, we don't know really what is going. He's still technically questionable, I think, but most likely I think is going to play. Is he going to get the full workload? We don't know yet, but I think he's worth a risk taking, or, you know, early or wherever you can kind of get him. Definitely, you got to make a choice depending on where you're drafting. I was in the little mock that I did before, where someone took Patrick Mahomes second. That really helped Christian McCaffrey fall to me. That's not normally going to happen to you when you're picking. I was picking 6, so I was on the turn. McCaffrey falling to 6 is probably not going to happen very often in this draft. So. So don't expect that, is basically what I'm getting to, as I'm getting distracted here, waiting for our last person to jump in. Oh, and they just did. So we are technically about to get underway here, and we only have 3 running backs ranked. So let's go from here. These are kind of my top 3 guys. You got Kamara in a tough matchup against Tampa Bay. You have Michael Thomas potentially coming back, probably going to limit the targets for Kamara. Does Kamara and Latavius Murray, do they share the same amount on the ground still, like as far as attempts, or does Kamara go back to, you know, getting more attempts on the ground? But even if he does, it's a tough, you know, matchup. So this is kind of where I'm looking at, like, just these 3 running backs up top is my priority. And if I'm picking, like, maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, you know, and I might take Kamara on, like, on a turn or something if he falls. But getting a DeAndre Hopkins, I think, can be huge in this spot. And Julio, because of a late round guy that I want to get, Julio is a nice pair with another player that we're going to talk about later. So I've got him in the mix. And then I definitely want pieces as the draft is now kicking off. We're waiting for the first guy to pick. I've got the number 6 pick again on the turn. But the game that people are going to want this week is that Seattle Buffalo game. I mean, that's definitely going to be popular. Seattle is always popular. And I even like the Buffalo side, I think. And this guy takes Russell Wilson 1.1. Do you see what I'm saying here, people? There is soft action over here. And it's not going to stay this way forever, because as this platform gets more popular, the bigger sharks are going to come over. So get over here, jump in, and get your hand in the dirt. Get in on the ground floor in the first year, and really get good at this format. I think it's important to, get to other things other than just DraftKings. So we see that Russell Wilson goes first, and then all 3 of my favorite running backs go off the board. Boom, boom, boom. And we're waiting to see what it's Harris time. Is that Christopher Harris? It sounds like, it's like I've heard that phrase before. It's probably not. But, we're waiting to see what he does, and that will determine what we do. And like I said, if Kamara falls to me with on the turn, I could definitely see myself taking him here, going ahead and getting that running back and getting him out of the way. He took Mahomes. So me being on the turn, 2 quarterbacks going before my first pick, I absolutely love. I can wait on quarterback, or I can take one here, or I can potentially really try to hit a stack really hard. But I think I am going to take Kamara here as just one of the top backs left on the board. And I am also going to take I'm going to take Julio. I'm going to play for the fact that Calvin Ridley is out, and instead of taking a guy like Hopkins, these are the decisions that you have to make to get a little bit different. And I'm sure this guy's going to probably take DeAndre Hopkins. The fact that he's fallen this far is pretty. I don't know how often it'll happen. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is, because I have a tight end strategy here that we have not talked about yet. So I took Julio for that strategy, and you need to have these strategies coming in. You need to be able to adjust on the fly as well. But taking Julio and taking Kamara, just getting my one running back, my stud running back, this late, and now I don't have to think about running back again for the rest of the draft. Now I have Julio with something I'm going to do later, and let's see, we have James Conner going off the board. We have DeAndre Hopkins, there he goes. Travis Kelce, that's a great spot to get Kelce. Taking tight end early in these drafts are great, especially when they project the way that they do, because Kelce, he's not on the board right now, but he was projected for like 14, like 3, I think. So a little over 3 points projected difference between the number 1 and number 2 tight end. And then when you start looking at the projections from here on down to Waller to Andrews, it's like 11, 10, 9, 9, 9, 9. Jared Cook basically 9. Gronk basically 9, 8, 8, 8. These guys are so volatile and so hard to predict. Getting a leg up on tight end, I think, is leverage here. I don't know if you'd really call it leverage because you're not basing it off another play. Anyway, let's look at the board. It's going to be our pick again in 4 picks. Like I said, Kelce goes off the board. Edmonds, James Robinson. I always want to call him Jerome, and then I almost call him the right name, and I'm like, wait, am I going to say that right? Love him if you have to wait on running back. I love where you can get him. So Hill, Lockett. This is where I'm going to try to set myself up for my stack. I really like, and I don't know, it's going to be hard. 2 quarterbacks that I like stacking with on the high end, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, both right here. I could take both of them and really try to pull in a Keenan Allen. Diggs, let's see, DK Metcalf, just got taken. So doing like a Diggs, DK Metcalf, Lockett kind of back and forth with one of those quarterbacks is definitely something that I want to try to hit if I can, but it's pretty much out of the question unless I want, there's just really no way to do it. So now I'm going to try a couple things. I'm going to take a Keenan Allen here. I want 2 more receivers. So I'm going to do that by taking Keenan Allen. He gets super high volume. Justin Herbert just loves him. And I may try to stack that later. And then if I don't get that, let's see, who are the Falcons playing again? They are playing, I don't know, but the pressure's on. So at this point, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take my quarterback. I was going to try to wait and maybe let him fall, but I want to make sure I get that, man. And Herbert and Keenan Allen against the Raiders this week. I really like how that sets up. Why could I not remember who Atlanta was playing? That's right, they're playing Denver. So right now I have a quarterback, running back, 2 receivers. I have my flex and my tight end left to take, and I will get them at the end of the 5th, beginning of the 6th round here. And like I said, I've got kind of a plan when it comes to tight end. I got a couple different things that I might be up for. One of those is already dead, though, because Waller in the mix with a run back as far as Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen is a really nice play. Probably tough to get all that in just so early because they're going to be higher owned picks early on in the draft. But let's talk about Fant. Fant is a direction I really want to go. I took Julio for this reason because I want that correlation between Julio and Fant. Julio is going to get, if Ridley is out, then obviously a lot of targets for Julio. Even if he's limited, Ridley doesn't do well playing injured, so I still like Julio in this spot. Denver, not a great defense when it comes to, the secondary. Let's see. Let's keep up with the board a little bit. A-Rob, Diggs, Gronk, Watson go off the board. Most people have quarterbacks at this point, I assume, which is why waiting for quarterback can be advantageous because there's still a lot of good quarterbacks out there. But yeah, Julio against Denver, and then getting Noah Fant super late. If you check this out, he's still available. I get to pick next, and here I am with my last two picks. Noah Fant is in a great spot this week. Atlanta gives up by far the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, and on this, and they don't do well against any, guarding hardly any position outside of the running back. I'm going to go ahead and take Fant here. And then, because I need to, we'll talk about strategy a little bit more in a minute. Now, here's what I can do. I'm sitting here. I've got 20 seconds to make a choice. I want to take another receiver. I got these amazing options here. Thielen, McLaurin, Justin Jefferson. Claypool is one I'd really like to take a shot on, but I'm going to go get Ruggs. I just starred him, so he'll automatically get drafted for me here, and I have full correlation with all these guys. Let's go look at my team here. Let's see. Let's just move this over. Go right here. Now you can see my whole team there. I have a full game stack with Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, running it back with Henry Ruggs, big play potential. And then I've got correlation with Julio Jones, going to be targeted out the ass this week, depending on Ridley. And I think regardless, Ridley's going to be dinged up. So I think it's a Julio week for sure. And then what we were talking about, running that back, correlation with Noah Fant, who is in a spot where we talked about Atlanta giving up the most points to opposing tight ends this year. And it's just been, oh, great. Of course, my team goes away. Let's try to pull them back up here. This is my old team that I drafted earlier. Where's my new team? Let's see. Results. No. Active. Completed. Yeah, completed drafts here. Of course, it won't let me see my team for some reason. Let's just pop back over here. So, yeah, no Fant. Good matchup. And I just think this is going to be a good game environment for Drew Lock. And who does he really have to throw to? I mean, it's not like he's got a DeAndre Hopkins blocking the tight end. It's not like taking, Hayden Hurst when you have Julio in front of him. I mean, Locke's all his guys are a coin flip, and we've already seen Fant really do well with Locke. They have a chemistry. There's just nobody who is standing out in front of him. So I think Fant's a great spot to take late here. I love this team, man. The correlation is deadly. If that Chargers-Raiders game goes off and, Julio does well, Fant does, obviously, if all your players do well, but this is what I'm saying is basically correlate the games. I mean, that's the best shot you have at getting that top prize. And then I have Kamara, who's my number one running back, who I got with the 6th pick. Not in the best spot, but yeah, it's serviceable. I got the correlation. I got the full game stack, secondary correlation, and my one-off, who was actually my first pick. So I don't really need that much correlation if I had enough confidence to take Kamara that early. So that's pretty much how that falls. I know you don't really have to look at these, we didn't finish the rankings. I understand that, but you follow the method that I just followed. You make your own ranks and your own tiers, and you'll come out, hopefully smelling like a rose on Sunday. So that's going to do it. Wanted to keep this short, 20 minutes. Saw a live draft. You saw me talk some strategy. You saw me ranked some players. But that's it. It's going to wrap us up for today. So thanks for joining. Make sure you're following us on YouTube over there at the Daily Fantasy Sweat. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Come on, people. Help us out. We are on the podcast format as well. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Join wherever you can. Subscribe, leave ratings and reviews. Hit all the buttons. Do all the things. Thanks for being with us here today. And until we meet again, as always, on this post-election day, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. May all your fantasy dreams come true.